I met a group of American singers in the choir that were having literally problems gasping the words out. It was so sad to see. 13,000 feet of altitude. I don't know how many of you have been at that altitude, but that's Bolivia. Bolivia is primarily 13,000 feet of altitude. In any case, this man, not to make a long story short, he was transfixed by the possibilities of other traditions, and now he wants to pick up the charango, the zampoñas, the quenas, which are instruments from the Andes, no? As you know, many of you have heard the condor pasa, and you know what those things can sound like. Okay, this script obviously cannot follow a chronological order, obviously. The framework of it is amnesia, is oblivion, and I'll read you only 2 or 3 little fragments because we don't have much time. The heroine is a woman. The heroine is a woman, it's Loenia, from the town of Loen, which I created. And she is sacrificed by both her lover and her father. She was a woman, a very lovely woman, who didn't fall in love with any of the local boys, but all of a sudden one day, being from overseas comes over, which is in a way a metaphor for the conquest of America. It's called the conquest. This is about the conquest of America. The conquest of America is the rape of women, literally, in Latin America certainly. You know, it came about through a rape of women. And this is, of course, the beginning of the grand metaphor. We have talked about the labyrinth, which is the metaphor that Borges offers for the labyrinths of politics in Latin America, and for the labyrinth of the existential labyrinths, metaphysical labyrinths of all of us, the anguishing labyrinths that we all suffer, that we all face. The solitude is another one in Latin America. The labyrinth of solitude. In fact, both words are combined by Octavio Paz in a book which everyone should read, which is trying to understand Latin American writing. The labyrinth of solitude. Solitude because we are all, being such machos, we're all separated by this crust of invulnerability, and hence you can never really break through solitude, your own solitude, and hence you die literally isolated from the group as a beast, as an animal, like in 100 Years of Solitude. No, in the end. And the last metaphor, the metaphor that I propound is the metaphor of amnesia, because we come from a country, in my own particular experience, from an area, from a past which is non-existent, erased by time, by climate, by whatnot, by circumstances, and we have to recreate ourselves from that point on. It's a constant recreation. Now, here it is. Okay, the woman then is sacrificed by both the father and the mother, by the father and the lover. She falls in love with this foreigner. The foreigner takes her across the sea. He reveals himself for what he truly is, which every man is, a bird spirit, a rapacious bird spirit. Some of you may recognize yourselves. I'm just joking. And she becomes horrified. She becomes horrified and calls out in her anguish to her father. The father comes, rescues her, takes her across the waters, but in the midst of crossing the water, of course, some tragedy has to happen in order to make it an opera, appears the rapacious bird spirits in the sky, squealing and screaming and driving the father into total insanity, to the point at which he throws the girl overboard, his own daughter, and she clings onto the boat, and he chops her fingers with an axe. And the fingers, as they fall into the water, become the memories. Until that point, there was no memory. You see? And then, of course, Loenia sinks into the water, is covered by green seaweed, and then rises as an elemental force, and destroys the previous world. Now, if this has a ring of truth, it may very well be. It is also the large symbol, of course, of what could happen now that we have abused and stepped upon Mother Nature and all that. A theme that I came upon in your country in the 1960s, which I collaborated with Pete Seeger